Hey now, it's Sharon, and I'm back to share another idea on how we can better policing here in the U.S. on an individual basis. If you're new to the channel, I'm a retired detective. I worked for 20 years for a southeastern city in the U.S., and I was also in the military. I share my ideas, thoughts, experiences, and opinions on this channel in regards to how we can better policing on an individual basis, meaning the individual coming into policing that's already there, maybe the career officer, how we can address certain things within ourselves to better police. And with that being said, last week I talked about my question about white men because I worked with a lot of them in government, and I saw that they had very little sympathy for themselves, much less other people. And I asked the same question for like maybe 3 or 4 weeks, and people found it hard to answer. They accused me of being racist for asking the question, things like that. But I did get some answers, and I'm grateful for that because it broadened my perspective. I was looking for different perspectives to learn from. And so last week, a commenter asked, excuse me, I mentioned that I did not see myself in the Bible because of me researching and journaling, because of the ostracism and the retaliation that I faced. I was left alone a lot by myself. So I started to ask the question, was telling the truth even valuable? Because that's what happened. I had to tell the truth. I started to get ostracized and retaliated against. I ended up by myself researching and awakening to who I was. And I made the comment and I said, I did not see myself in the Bible. And there was a commenter last week who still hasn't answered my question. But the commenter said, is it about seeing yourself in the Bible? And then they said something about, are you saved by grace or by race? And that was interesting. And, they started off firstly, and you know how Christians are, those nice, nasty Christians, because I was one of them. They start off with that firstly. Oh, you already know. So I'm going to answer the question on my channel now. Answering the question, no, you are not saved by race or grace. My comment was, I did not see myself in the Bible while reading the Bible. Maybe it's only me, but when I read, I give careful thought to what I'm reading, what it's about, who's in it, why they're in it, what we're talking about. And so finding out that the Hebrews, I come from the Hebrews. Now, it's probably like 10, 15 years now. I always thought, up until then, the Bible was completely about white folks. Completely. Christ was white. My issue with white men, I talk about that in other videos. And so I did not see myself in the Bible. So I said that, and this commenter made the comment, so I answered. And I have this question for you guys. When you read the Bible, and it specifically talks about the Israelites, are they just characters or are they real people? And if they're real people, how do you imagine them? For me, I always saw them as white because of growing up here in the U.S., born and raised, and media always showed them as being white. 20, 30 years ago, I started to see Black Hebrew Israelites. I remember seeing them on the in my, not my neighborhood, but like at the store, they would talk and they'd call you a queen or a princess, and you come from royalty. I remember them. But I didn't start really researching it until I got ostracized and retaliated against for telling the truth. Now notice the word truth. I'm left alone. I'm researching for the truth, and then I find the truth. So to that commenter, when I'm reading the Bible now, I see myself in it. And the people are brown, like me, because Black, the whole construct thing, that's a white supremacy thing. I'm brown. Everybody's a shade of, as they say, wheat. But I'm brown, and I come from those people in the Bible. That's what I was reading about myself the whole time. Knowing yourself is a good thing. Knowing where you come from is a good thing. That's why they had all the begats in the Bible. There was a reason for showing legacy and showing who came from where. And like Black folks in America, a lot of us can only go back 3 or 4 generations, maybe 4 or 5 generations, and then it goes back to Africa. I know what tribe I come from now. That's a great thing. So again, to that commenter, when I read the Bible, I'm looking at it as though they are real individuals. I don't give them the modern day look. That's why I research. What did it look like? What did they look like back then? Let's get this clear. I believe in Christ, the one you call Jesus, Yahushua. I believe in his birth, his death, his resurrection, his ascension, and his seating. Let's get that out the way. Now, if I believe in his birth, I did ask the question, what did he look like when he walked the earth as a man? Comes back to identity again. And it's not about one race over another. What did they look like back then? And so I wanted to know, and I found out. Now, going back to my question about working with particularly white men in government, because white men run the government, and I see that they have very little sympathy for themselves, much less other people, that generated the question for me. And white Christ, I answered that question too. But yeah, do I see myself in the Bible now? It's about me and my people. Some people may get angry at that. That's okay. But growing up here, media has a big influence on us. I remember watching the 10 Commandments with Charlton Heston. And he walked out with a multitude of, in the Bible, it says the Hebrews and a multitude. But in Charlton Heston's film, you saw what you saw. A lot of the things have been whitewashed. And why is that? That's the enemy. On a spiritual level, it's the enemy. He doesn't want us to know the truth for some reason, but you can't stop the truth. You can't stop it. So with that, I figured I'd come out and answer that question. Did I see myself in the Bible? I see myself in the Bible now. It's not about race. It's just about the truth. Searching for and knowing the truth. And I'll come back next week because, again, getting into policing, I believed a lot of untruths about myself, about policing. And so we're breaking it down. I'm breaking it down and giving you my experience. And hopefully this can help somebody. All right. Like, comment, subscribe. Definitely comment. I'd like to hear your perspective on it. And check out my online store. The online store is the link will be in the description. Here's my book, My Middle Eastern Conflict, Looking Back at My Future. It's on lulu.com. That's LULU.com. It's $15. If you're a Christian or call yourself a Christian or believer, read part 3 first and then go back and start the book. What else? That's it. I'll come back with another idea. And as is our tradition, you don't necessarily have to go through a thing to learn from it. Talk to you later. Bye.